Today we're going to learn about energy flow in ecosystems. Energy is what all living things need to survive, grow, and move. In this lesson, we'll explore where energy comes from and how it moves through nature. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to explain how energy moves through an ecosystem, describe the role of producers and consumers, and write a short scientific explanation using evidence from a model. Today we're going to answer three big questions. First, where does energy in an ecosystem come from? Second, how does energy move from one organism to another? And third, why does energy flow in one direction instead of cycling? Pay attention here, because later in this lesson, you'll use models, write explanations, and practice thinking like a scientist. You've probably seen a food chain before. Take a look at this example. Notice where the flow starts, where the energy comes from. Then, observe how the energy travels between the organisms such as the grass, then the rabbit, and then the fox. In 2 to 3 sentences, explain where the fox's energy originally comes from. No pressure here, just show what you're thinking. Energy is the ability to do work. In ecosystems, almost all energy comes from the sun. Without energy from the sun, most living things would not survive. Take a moment to think about things around you that depend on energy, not just plants. Producers are organisms that make their own food using energy from the sun. This process is called photosynthesis. Notice the word autotrophic. We will learn more about this word later, but organisms that photosynthesize are an example of an autotrophic organism. Auto means by itself, and trophic is related to food or eating. Plants, algae, and phytoplankton are all producers. They are important because they are the first step in bringing energy into an ecosystem. Consumers are organisms that get energy by eating other organisms. They cannot make their own food. Notice the word heterotrophic. We will learn more about this word later too, but heterotrophic organisms are almost all organisms that are not producers. Hetero means different, and again, trophic is related to food or eating. Herbivores eat plants, carnivores eat animals, and omnivores eat both. All consumers depend on producers, either directly or indirectly, for energy. Energy flow is the movement of energy from one organism to another. Energy flows in one direction, from the sun to producers to consumers. It does not cycle back. In one sentence, explain how energy moves from the sun to the fox using the model. Which organism brings energy into an ecosystem? A. Consumers. B. Decomposers. C. Producers. Or D. Predators. Choose the best answer. After you choose, explain why you chose that answer in one sentence. Let us review how energy moves. Key points. Energy enters when the sun provides light to producers. Producers use that energy to make food. Primary consumers eat producers and get energy. Secondary consumers eat primary consumers and get energy. Notice how the arrows show energy moving one way. Energy always starts with the sun. Now it's your turn to practice. Complete the explanation using what you've learned. Use the word bank to help you, and pay attention to how energy moves through the model. Let's summarize what we learned. Energy enters ecosystems from the sun. Producers capture energy from the sun and make food. Consumers get energy by eating producers or other consumers. And energy flows in one direction. It does not cycle. Now you'll use a new model to explain energy flow. Look at the ecosystem shown. In 4 to 6 sentences, explain how energy moves through this system. Be sure to identify where energy enters, describe how it moves between organisms, and use at least 2 science vocabulary words. Now let's check for misconceptions. A student says, "Energy cycles through an ecosystem the same way matter does." Do you agree or disagree? Use evidence from the model to explain your answer. In one complete sentence, Explain why an ecosystem would collapse without producers. Your sentence must explain what happens to energy and use at least one vocabulary word. Great work today! You've learned how energy moves through ecosystems and why producers are so important. Next time, we'll build on this idea by learning how matter moves differently than energy.